I think from a FreedomPay perspective, we have noticed a trend, which Todd mentions about, how do you provide innovation in the payments ecosystem? And when you think about what I'll call maybe status quo or the legacy payments ecosystem, there's this paradigm that says there's a merchant selling system, maybe a gateway like a FreedomPay, there's a traditional processing platform, a settlement platform in the schemes on the back end, and then acquirers sort of sit almost on the outside of that, I would say, historically. And I think we were looking for innovative ways to disrupt that traditional model. And Todd, with his experience in the ecosystem and some of the great relationships he's got, collaborated with us, mainly with his innovations on, well, why isn't the bank also the acquirer processor at the same time? And using new technologies that are out there, whether or not that's a VPC or an MPGS, the Visa direct to issuer, the MasterCard direct to issuer, scheme to issuer authorization capabilities, Todd and team were able to build really their own, as you mentioned, processor platform, right? By using scheme to issuer plus processing, and the fact that Woodforest Acceptance Solutions is also from Woodforest National Bank, they have some really unique superpowers, if you will. They can grant bins to prospective customers. They have amazingly high authorization rates as it relates to scheme to issuer capabilities. And as a bank, plus an acquirer processor, and in partnership with those Visa and MasterCard partners where they can get access to enrichment data, Todd's been able to build a really amazing ecosystem around artificial intelligence driving understandings of your consumer. So as a FreedomPay, we were sort of tracking that initiative and said, well, you got to connect to the edge though. That's a great infrastructure and solution set, but how do you get that out to the merchant? And FreedomPay, as a unified commerce platform that focuses on the consumer, we feel like we have really that other piece of the puzzle that says, Todd, and your data and your consumer centricity, we can pull those insights out to your merchant partners and make them actionable. So that's really the genesis of the partnership and the unique value that we feel like we bring together as partners.
Yeah, and I think that's right. I think what's really attracted us to FreedomPay is FreedomPay's customer-centric approach to things, and the enterprise platform that FreedomPay has built over the years is impressive to us, and I think taking things direct to issuer and other things that we've talked about doing with really scattering a variety of funding windows out there for merchants, and real-time payments and other things that we can do as an acquiring bank and a processor just enhance what you guys have done from a consumer experience perspective at FreedomPay. We're thrilled about the partnership. I think we also, as we've talked about, we have many mutual partners, and we have mutual partners that are engaged in the ISV space, and we just feel that if we continue to evolve around our partnership with FreedomPay, whether it be enterprise and middle market merchants, the ISV space, there's just a lot to gain in kind of the direct to issuer, which is direct to consumer, and your consumer facing platform just makes this a very special partnership, and we're really appreciative and impressed to be in the partnership with you guys. So it's been
mutual.
Great.
So moving the partnership forward, how does the partnership impact on merchants? Particularly around existing and emerging technology in payments.
Why don't you take that one?
Yeah, happy to go first. I don't know if you can use cleanliness as a word in payments, right? It's a very elegant solution. Merchants, they want simplicity and flexibility at the same time. And that's really the differentiation that this solution provides, is that the merchant gets the full value of an open agnostic platform like FreedomPay, but they can combine that with the simplification that Todd and team have done at Woodforest by saying, okay, we can go to all these different providers, but we can also get all of the best in breed of switch to issuer processing, higher approval rates, next day funding, all of the data services. So the things that are very hard to aggregate on the back end with a very fragmented sort of processor acquirer community, those are really streamlined in the Woodforest Acceptance Solution ecosystem. And then we're combining those with all of the ISV connectivity and choice and flexibility that the merchants need. And that should inherently drive a lot of innovation.
Yeah, and I think that in addition to some of the gateway things that, there's a simplistic sophistication around the way you guys have built your platform, and that in and of itself is so attractive and benefits merchants in a big way, and enhancing that, with the data, enhancing that with the ability just to get to data, in the legacy networks that the merchant world has been exposed to for so many years, most of the things that I think should be inherent in a partnership with a payment processor have been lost based on legacy-ridden systems and the inability to really provide services outside of processing payments, which you guys do so well. And our ability, I think, to help that along with the data, with reliability, authorization, optimization, and routing capabilities, if we can continue to make the merchant world more efficient while still providing extended value, that's the key, and that quite frankly represents where the future should be of fintech in general.
Yeah, I mean, you could take all of that strategic vision and you can wrap that up into a very tactical product that we'll now be able to give to merchants, which is, imagine that you no longer have to worry about mandates. Imagine that you no longer have to worry about payment data security, all of those things like, am I getting the best qualification or interchange rate? These are things that merchants they're mission critical for merchants, but they don't really know how to solve for those. And this, again, sort of the cleanliness and the streamlinedness of this joint solution, all of those are just checkboxes now that get solved for.
Can I ask a two-pronged future question? What does the partnership look like for the next 12 months, 2025? And secondly, what does the partnership look like then into the future?
I think kind of a two-pronged approach. I think the merchant community is going to get a fresh look at something that has not been out there and available before, and it's for all the things we mentioned in our last answer. Data, the cleanliness, as Chris put it, which is a great way to put it, because as I said earlier, simple sophistication, more is less in many respects, and that would be not for a merchant not having to aggregate tons of partnerships to kind of assemble what we can provide them in our combined offering here. But then on the ISV side, there's this enormous amount of thought leadership and thought innovation that exists in the fintech world today. Many can't find a place where they can integrate the payments in a way that gives them the ability to really participate in the payments, to really kind of exploit their value proposition to the merchant community. And I think we're that place. And Chris and I have built a number of relationships together where they're solely focused on the ISV community and helping those ISVs, and there's many of them downstairs here today. There's a lot of great ideas, but you're always trying to find the right payment partner, and I think now the right payment partner exists in our combined
100%.
offering.
And in addition to ISVs, I think even ISOs are going to find this to be a welcome place to play. I won't name any names, but there's been a big change in the ISO community. Certain, previously ISO sponsorship banks are no longer participating in that ecosystem. So there's really this, kind of big open space right now in the immediate term for not only ISVs, but also for ISOs to find this really great place to play. And then that ultimately becomes a flywheel effect where there's more ISOs and more ISVs, which means there's more data, which means there's more value that goes back to the merchant. So it should create over the next kind of 18, 24, 36 months, this continuing increment of just value across all of those different constituents.
Yeah, I would say from an ISO perspective, if you're not here, you're not there at all.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of where it's going.
100%.
Yeah. So it's much more complete than a much more complete offering than I think exists anywhere else.
Absolutely. We're really excited about the partnership that we announced just a couple months ago. And now at NRF, I think we're really ready to sort of pull the curtains back, if you will. This is a fully integrated, ready to go solution. So we're excited to welcome many ISVs, ISO, other partners, merchant partners into this great vertically integrated value set for them to participate in.
Yeah, and we're really excited and we're ready to go, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And building and being a processor behind everything that you guys have built so so successfully and with such kind of a very elegant build, we're proud to be partners with you guys.
Yeah, amazing.